6 o'clock. I will now call this regular city council meeting of the City Council of Littlefield to order. If you'll rise, I'll lead us in invocation followed by the pledge. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the rain that you've given us. Thank you for the many blessings. Be with us as we move through tonight's agenda. Give us wisdom and foresight. Be with all those that are sick and hurting. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for joining us tonight. At this time, Janine, is there anybody registered for citizen comment?
Yes, sir, Mr. Olmsted.
Mr. Olmsted, please approach the podium and give your name and address for the record. And you have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Al Olmsted. My address is 220 West 2nd Street in Littlefield. You've heard many things about me, almost all of which are false. And it's okay, that'll work it out. But one of the things you can't figure out is what I do for a living. I'm a fiduciary trustee, specifically a custodial trustee. It means I take homes, I take ownership of homes and cars and money and property on behalf of the beneficiary. I have a legal duty that if I do anything wrong, I have to pay the trust back. Not the beneficiary, I have to pay the trust. My fiduciary duty is to the trust. It's honesty and loyalty. It's from me to the trust, okay? And that's everywhere in the United States that I know of. You, especially the newly elected members, will not know this unless you've had unusual opportunity to investigate the issue of fiduciary duties in the past. What you have not been told is that you have a worldwide, unique fiduciary duty. Only in the United States. It's not true in Canada. It's not true in other English common law countries at all. You have no fiduciary duty whatsoever to the city government, as I do to the trust. The trust is not like the city government. I have an inescapable fiduciary duty to the trust. You have no duty whatsoever to the city government. So the city buys a truck and doesn't pay for it. The dealer cannot sue you. You have no duty whatsoever. However, you do have a worldwide unique financial duty, a fiscal fiduciary duty, and that is to the people who elected you, especially in the matter of the disposition of their money. And so what I'm here to tell you is, if $1, Mr. Eisenwine, if $1 gets paid to pay the defense fees of these two and that law firm in the 154th District Court lawsuit that Mr. Warren and I filed against them, $1, you all get sued. That's it. You have a fiduciary duty to your taxpayers, to nobody else. The best thing you can do to protect yourself, because you can't trust these people. If he's such a great lawyer, how come he's a defendant? Over 62 years, I have been suing lawyers and kicking judges off benches. You may not yet have heard what I did over the weekend in that regard. You may imagine that you run the lawsuit against Mr. Warren. You don't, I do, okay? But these people will not tell you the truth. The best thing going for you is to get your own lawyer to explain to you what I just explained to you and to see that I'm right or wrong. Do not allow these people to sucker you into this, because they'll do it behind your back. These people took your employee, right there, he's your employee, conspired with your employee against you. You're his clients.
Mr. Olmsted, please take your seat.
He will do the same thing to you. He cannot be trusted. He is in a $25 million lawsuit. That's it. Get your own lawyer, because it's your money, and I will come after you for it.
Janine, is there anybody else registered?
No, sir.
At this time, we will consider and approve the minutes from the April 23rd regular meeting and May 9th special meeting. If there are no additions or corrections, can I get a motion?
There's a correction, please, on the page 6. I was absent from that meeting.
Is that the May 9th?
That is the May 9th meeting, yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other additions or corrections? none, can we get a motion to approve the minutes with that correction?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion's been made by Ben, seconded by Michael. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Next, we will consider and approve the monthly departmental reports, police department, fire department, EMS, code enforcement, animal control, landfill, water, wastewater, streets and parks, municipal court, monthly financial reports, sales tax collection, property tax collection, LEDC, A and B, if the board is met. If you have any questions, please let me find the page. Page 24, Monica, I wanted to tell you and MJ, thank you for your hard work in getting that grant from USDA for those cardiac monitors. That really helped us be able to fulfill that mandate without having to spend a bunch of money.
Absolutely. MJ certainly recommended on taking the lead on that, did a real good job.
Any other questions on the departmental reports?
Page 74, the fund summary. I just wanted to clarify, I get this clarification of this. These are not the total balances of these funds, because the general fund, the water and sewer fund actually changes yearly. It looks like it's a budgetary balance. Like, say for instance, the Parks and Rec Fund 16, the balance is not negative 20,000, I mean, or I'm sorry, 27,834. What, this isn't a balance sheet is what I'm saying.
No, it's an income statement.
So is there a possible way we can get a balance statement of these funds that are funds, not necessarily the general fund or water and sewer fund, because those are going to be based on our budget, but the other funds that may be used throughout the year?
Like a balance sheet.
Balance sheet, yeah.
Yeah, you put a balance sheet in the bill one.
That would be good, because this really doesn't tell us much what's happening with it, because it doesn't break it out into any transaction.
Is that something you can do?
Yeah, I can put a balance sheet.
Yeah, I just wanted to caution you, if we start, balance sheet, we can do that probably, but don't wanna start trying to audit this every month, because, that's really a job for the auditors to do. So, I don't wanna, these numbers are our numbers that we keep up with as they go, but, when they're audited, the auditors could make corrections and stuff like that, when they come in, so just wanna caution them getting too much, our staff doing too much, auditing, as we go. But, I think it's a good idea probably to come up with some kind of a balance sheet that shows at least a balance, beginning and ending balance, for each fund. Shouldn't be difficult to do.
I don't think it's a matter of auditing it, just wanted to know what the balance is, because nobody knows what, right now, what's in our park fund. It shows.
I don't think
I
it'll be
know.
hard to do.
Yeah, okay.
Andrew, you know what's in there?
200,000.
How much?
200,000.
And then also the blight elimination fund, have any idea what that balance is?
Blight elimination fund would probably be 10,000 maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just for our information to know what's actually in those funds, to see if we have enough money to proceed with the project, or what we need to do to, if we can use that money for something, you know. It's just important for our benefit.
Right.
Any other questions on departmental reports? If there are no further questions, can I get a motion to approve the monthly departmental reports as read?
I make a motion.
Second. Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Kenny. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we will consider and approve appointment of a mayor pro tem for the next year. Are there any nominations for mayor pro tem?
I'll nominate Michael Rangel as mayor pro tem for next year.
Motion, nomination's been for Michael. Is there any further nominations? If none, can I get a motion to appoint Michael Rangel as the mayor pro tem for the next year?
I'll make a motion that we, make Michael Rangel the next year's mayor pro tem.
Second.
Motion's been made by Kenny, seconded by Michael. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we will consider an appointment to the LEDCB directors to fill a vacancy. You can see those current members on page
78.
78. Mitch, we need a member of the public, is that correct, to replace Kenny Rucker?
Yes.
And you talked to David Garcia, and he has an interest in serving. David Garcia is a young man here in town, and leave District 2, wants to get involved on the city. I would nominate him to serve this position. Is there any other nominations? If none, I make a motion we appoint David Garcia to fill Kenny Rucker's term. Second. Motion's been made by Eric, seconded by Michael. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Why is it on there twice? Why is that on there twice?
Well, one is to reappoint the existing ones, and one is to,
Okay.
you know,
So next we will,
Candy Lance and to reappoint.
Next, we will consider and approve reappointments of the LEDCB directors. And who needs reappointment?
Candy and Lance and Rita,
And myself.
and I think, yeah, Bill, yeah, might as well do it now.
So we need a motion to reappoint Candy, Lance, Rita, and myself. If I'm not on there by bylaws, I don't know.
I make a motion that we reappoint these members for LEDCB director.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Ben. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion carries. Next, we'll consider an appointment to the zoning board of adjustment directors to fill a vacancy. That is on page 8. We're filling the terms of Kenny Rucker and Casey Duran. Is there any nominations for those individuals? I nominate Lance Broadhurst and Sean Pickrell. They both expressed an interest in doing that.
Second that.
Any other nominations? If none, we also need Bill Rogers' term is, let's see. Bill Rogers' term is up, and we need to renew Ray Vargas. Well, let's do that for him first. A motion's been made and seconded that we appoint Sean Pickrell and Lance Broadhurst to replace Kenny Rucker and Casey Duran. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Can we do the reappointment now? Okay. We also need to reappoint Ray Vargas, Linda Ramirez, and Johnny Roseman,
And Kathy.
and Kathy Shipp.
Make a motion to reappoint those members.
I second that.
Motion's been made by Ben, seconded by Buddy. Any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Next, we will consider an appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission directors to fill a vacancy. This is on page 82, where we have Kenny Rucker and Casey Duran also coming off of those. I also nominate Lance Broadhurst and Sean Pickrell to fill those positions.
Is Casey going off that?
Yes, on both of those.
He resigned.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Second that.
Were there any other nominations? Motion's been made and seconded to appoint Lance Ron-Hurst and Sean Pickrell. Is there any further discussion? None, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion carries. Next, we will consider and approve reappointments of the Planning and Zoning Commission directors. Once again, we have, there's nobody running out on this one, right, Janine?
On the planning and zoning,
Yes.
let me look. I believe, no, I think you're right. That's all we have.
So there is nobody's term up, so we take no action on that. Next, we will consider and approve mutual aid agreement, emergency assistance with Management and Training Corporation. Mitch?
This is kind of a no big deal thing with, something that MTC is, the state requires them to have this agreement that just basically says if they have a problem, we'll help, so. And we would, just like any other business, but they need it in writing, and this is basically the same one we had with, Well Path, so, not a lot to it.
Can you get any discussion on this item? If not, can you get a motion to approve this emergency assistance agreement?
I make a motion, we approve this mutual aid agreement, emergency assistance.
Second that. Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Eric. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next, we will consider and approve a contract for additional landfill cell development. Mitch?
You can see I provided a bid tab, from our bidding that we did for, development of 3 cells at the landfill. You'll recall the last cell that we had, dug was, $60,000. So this bid we have is to dig 2 cells, and, it's $154,000 bid, which is 70-something thousand per cell. Not real happy with the way this stuff's going. The bids, some of them came in $1.3 million. I can't figure out how really you get that number. But at any rate, we do have a bid that's in the ballpark. I guess fuel costs have driven the cost up. It's hard to kind of look at this on its own. We have a scraper that's, the transmission went out on it, so that's another item that we need to look at. I think if we started today, I don't think they could get the scraper out in time for us to be able to do the cell to stay for the timeline. We're needing to tap one cell soon, very soon, and so we don't have a lot of options on this other than to take the low bid or throw the bids out. That's really the only option you have on this today.
What is the additive alternate? So the bid is 154, or is the additive alternate included in there?
That is just 154 is for 2 cells. That was the base.
That's the bid we're approving today?
Has anybody looked into maybe, I don't know if it's possible in this industry, but renting a unit?
Yeah, you can lease the units. I haven't found one yet. I know in Lubbock, I haven't been able to find one there, but I figure probably in the neighborhood of 10,000 probably or so a month. And then your fuel, that, it pretty comparable, maybe we'll save a little bit of money on it. if we rent a unit, and I was gonna bring that up at the meeting tonight to see, you know, that would be an option for us. To take, I don't have a real solid number on all the fuel costs and stuff like that to rent a unit, but renting a scraper would be probably around 10,000 a month. If there's one to rent, that's kind of the problem with scrapers, is they're not as available as a lot of the other type equipment because they're kind of specialized.
Are there any other landfills in this area that have their own scraper that they're not using at the moment, or might be able to let us use for the amount of time, and have some sort of agreement with them?
I can't answer that. Typically, that big of a piece of equipment like that's gonna be,
It'd be hard to move.
gonna be rolling somewhere.
Scrapers have a lot of wear components. I mean, you can rent a dozer or a track loader for probably 10,000 a month, 10 to 12, but a scraper's gonna be probably 20,000-25,000 a month.
Yeah.
Rent them just because of the wear parts on it.
I've rented them before on landfills to scrapers. B Equipment used to be really good, they love it, but they've kind of gotten out of business, and I think the other dealers like the Yellow House and Warren, they would probably lease you one if you were planning on buying it later, but that's kind of what you're dealing with. I tried to get hold of some company there in Amarillo, I think has some scrapers, but I don't know that we would bid very much to rent a unit to dig these pits.
Part of this thing, I mean, the scraper's another agenda item that you need that to cover some old landfill and do that closure. This is to get 2 new pits dug, one of which you're needing soon.
We need them to start on it very quickly.
And so, I mean, you couldn't do all of this work in the time frame allowed with one machine. Right.
No,
Yeah. Then you're taking your manpower out of the landfill too, to take time to dig a pit also, so.
Does anybody know anything about this company that has the low bid?
They have good references, the engineer checked references, and they didn't have anything bad on them.
We've actually used Robert McCann Ltd. Before. They were hired with bid laws. Our only option is to accept the low bid or throw them out and rebid it for it.
Not necessarily, based upon performance and other issues, we don't have to accept a low bid.
Well, you can disqualify a bidder, but I don't know that we would have means to disqualify somebody when they've been checked out.
What does it mean here in our list on the page 90? We have AAJ concrete, and we have the check marks on all the boxes except for AAG.
And he just-
AAJ concrete just has a line across it.
He just didn't check them. I asked him about that, and he just marked it instead of checking. No, that's no significance there.
Where's this AAJ concrete, where they out of, Mitch?
Lubbock. Yeah.
When do they say they can get started on it?
Just very quickly, the engineer met with them out there. Lance, did they say as soon as it dried up, or?
Yeah, as soon as we can get the water out of them, we're out there pumping out water in the days.
It's got a little water in still.
Got a lot of water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing we're battling right now, is the lake.
Excuse me for asking, but, I mean, this is part of that with, I guess a few months ago, talking about when the man was here from the engineering department talking about covering.
This
all
is
the
it,
stuff
yeah.
and-
This is all part of it, but
and
more
the
than
timeframe
anything.
that he had. What was that again?
Now, yeah, it's part of it, this money that we'll spend here on this, all of that, or not all of it, but 60,000 is going to be counted toward that penalty. That takes care of that part. But another part of that is that we close the old landfill. We have to cover the old landfill. That's where your scraper comes in.
Right.
We have to have that scraper. And the guys have been working to get that ready to cover. They've been compacting the brush, the huge pile of brush and stuff, and moving concrete around and moving some of the piles of material that were in the old landfill. So they're getting set to do the cover over the old landfill. Once we get that in place, there'll be a fence that we'll need to build, and then that should pretty well complete what we need to do.
How much of this is in the budget? Or do we have it all budgeted already?
No, this is the item we talked about during the budget, but we just did not have a number on, a good number to count. So this is off budget.
Do we have money in the budget to cover this? Can we, I mean, do we have,
No, it'd be a
obviously not in the
budget
budget, do we have money in?
Yeah, we could do a
available?
budget amendment and probably cover it.
Yeah, this is something we've been planning on, a cost that we knew we were gonna have.
Okay.
So the option before us is to approve the lowest bid or reject these bids and start over, which we're bumping up the timeframe.
Yeah, it's gonna, those were those.
I make a motion that we approve the contract for additional landfill cell development.
We need to name AAJ.
Oh, I'm sorry, and take the lower bid of AAJ Concrete.
Motion's been made by Michael. Is there a second? I second that. Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Eric, that we approve the contract to AAJ Concrete for digging additional landfill cells. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we will consider and approve an interlocal agreement with Amherst for landfill.
Well, that was bad timing, sorry about that.
Thanks a lot there, Mitch.
After we spent $154,000, let's talk about your landfill.
With us tonight, we have the mayor of Amherst, Clinton Sawyer. He's here to answer any questions. You can see here, Mitch's right up on page 93. We do Amherst brings us their type 1.
Yeah, it's all the municipal waste.
Municipal waste, type 1 municipal waste. They bring us about 40 tons a month. And they've had a 5-year agreement at $26 a ton for material taken out of that landfill. So, Mitch, if you.
And that, yeah, that was part of that time. I think we were at $30, and then we recently went up to $35. And comparing what you're charging your citizens and what we're charging ours, yours is at 22 and ours is at 27. So there's a little bit, we're paying a little bit more for waste. Our citizens are. I don't think it's reasonable to go all the way up to 35 because the material, when they bring it to us, is partially processed. It's already been compacted with the trucks. They compacted it before they bring it over, and it has been screened to some extent. So the material is somewhat processed when it gets here. So there's a pretty good argument for being a little less than the typical 35 that comes through the gate. But I mean, it's up to y'all if y'all, I would recommend a small increase, but I don't know if you want to go all the way up to 35 or, I mean, it's not a huge amount of money, so it's not gonna make or break us, but, and then again, we don't have that many communities hauling to us, we've got just a handful.
Well, 40 tons per month, is that, I don't know volume of trash at all, is that a large volume or not? Is that more than anybody else is bringing in? other than the city of Littlefield?
Lance, do you have an answer to that?
Not really. It's something we can actually look into versus, because our trucks usually bring in anywhere from 8 tons a trip. They make 3 trips a day. So,
I don't know, I kind of consider volume, I don't know, that seemed to me a lot. 40 tons is a lot to me, but I would consider them like a wholesale, customer.
I agree.
Where they would bring in that volume, and it's not something, if it went away, 40 tons, whatever that is per month, what is it per month? 1,000 or so a month maybe? At that rate, that's still all right income. I don't see any reason to go up on it, except that in 5 years, our expenses have gone up, so that's the only thing we have to consider in this. I don't believe that going up to the 3 or 4 that you have in our packet, probably an option, maybe 1 or 2 might be a reasonable increase for that particular customer. We had other customers that brought in 40 or 50 or 60, then, they'd be considered wholesale as well.
I agree with that. Like Clinton, you and I visited about this issue, and we know you're on quite a different, smaller budget than we are too. And so while this isn't huge amounts of money on 40 tons, it does impact your budget. What I would like to see is us maintain the $26 for the rest of this fiscal year, ending September 30th, and then go up with an increase October 1, so that you can budget for that and take effect with that. If we go up from $26 to $30, you're still at a break below our just through the gate traffic. It changes with your average volume. It'd be about $160 more a month on your average deal, which isn't a big thing, but it does impact your budget. But it gets us more in line with our rates. With that too, through this process, they've been checking regional rates, and they're higher than us, and we don't want to be the cheapest, because we are bumping, not yet, but we're within 100 homes of bumping our limits on our trash. So, we like to deal with other neighbors in the county, but we don't want to see shallow water or Abernathy start bringing trash over here too, and then make us get out of over our permitted requirements. So, I agree with Mr. Williams. I don't think it's fair to go up to the whole rate of what we charge, because you are processed as a wholesale customer. So what rate would y'all like to see?
I don't mind staying at 26, but going up to 27 wouldn't probably break the bank. That's only $40 a month if we talk about per ton, right?
Is there,
But it is in the middle of the budget year, so your budget's already set, which makes it difficult, I know, to look at it and go, well, crud, we don't even have $40 a month in the budget. So that's something to consider there. And I agree with the not going up on rates until maybe after budget year. I don't know why they do a contract that ends in February for a city. That seems kind of odd, but I guess it's what happened at the time. I would agree with sticking at 26 for this fiscal year, and then consider any increase in October when it comes out. Talk about the budget with y'all before we finalize everything. I think that's what I agree with.
I think 26 is okay. I think we'll be fine. I think Councilman Warren tried we're in the middle of the fiscal year. It's not gonna hurt us, and it's probably gonna help them out more than it will us.
The 26, my only comment is I think the 26 is fair for the rest of this fiscal year. I do think with our rate being 35 that we do need to raise our rates, especially with the cost we've been seeing, $750,000 last year, $250,000 this year. We do, while they're not gonna bear much of that burden, we do, I think it's important to kind of keep in line with what our rates are. Maybe, I wouldn't do any higher than 30. So $30 is a $4 increase on 300 user accounts. They're gonna be able to make that up with about a 50-cent increase on their dumpster charges, which they're already $5.02 cheaper than us. You know, but that's their prerogative of what they decide to do there. But it would only take about a 50-cent increase on their dumpster fees to absorb that additional cost.
Well, I'm not gonna speculate what they're gonna charge or what they need to charge, because that's their business,
That's their
but they do need to keep that in mind whenever we're negotiating. If we're gonna go up on rates, they need to know as well, so we need to figure out something beforehand, so they'll have an idea what they can put in their budget. If we're talking about going to 30, like you said, maybe we need to have another discussion before budget time to actually discuss what would work for us and work for them as well. We can't just throw it on at October 1 and say, this is what you're thinking.
Was June. I mean, you've got a lot of time. I make a motion that we renew the agreement with Amherst for 5 years for $30 a ton. 30.
When are you talking about?
Starting October 1. They're at $26 until then, and then taking effect October 1, they go up to $30 for 5 years.
I don't agree with that one.
Hold on a second. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion's been made by Eric, seconded by Buddy. Is there any other discussion on that? So the motion before us is to leave their contract at $26 a ton until October 1st, 2019, at which time the rate will increase to $30 per ton for 5 years as in this agreement. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
One against. The motion carried. Thank you for coming. Next, we will consider and approve a scraper repair and budget amendment. Mitch?
I'm getting tired of putting them in, you know y'all are. But it's 95, 615 City Caterpillar. Transmission went out on it, for estimate is 34,000, which happens to be about what a 95, 615 City Caterpillar is worth. So just looking at a quick look at the internet, that's kind of what I'm coming up with. You could get one maybe 10 years nearer in the neighborhood of 115 to 200,000. So kind of what you're looking at, a brand new one would be astronomical. I didn't look at the price on the news. But something we're gonna have to start looking at probably in the next couple of years. I would think this transmission would make it last at least 2 more years. So
How many more?
I'd say a couple more years.
Lance, they went through all the chains and bearings, didn't they, Caterpillar here not long ago on the mechanism that digs?
Yes, sir.
All of that's in working order. The only problem is it won't go anywhere right now.
Yes, sir.
To me, I think if you spent this amount of money and bought another older machine, it's a crapshoot. If you repair the transmission on this, at least you know the rest of the machine is okay. So, I don't know, to me, that kind of tips the scales toward having it repaired, you know.
The fact is you need it quickly, right?
Yes, sir.
Management brought this to y'all because it is a large out-of-budget item for this repair, and so it brought it to you for some discussion of what your directive would be. We either need to look at repairing this, buying another one, or, you know, renting one that still leaves us with a useless scraper and the need for one in the future.
Well, if you repaired it and then you decided to do something else in the future, what kind of a trade-in value or something like that, would you get anything out of it,
You'd get back 75% probably what you put in it. I mean, it would, this machine, if you sold it in a couple of years, maybe 30, something like that, I don't know.
You did say earlier you checked on the same machines are in the 30 to 35,000 range.
Yeah, if you bought one, yeah. You know, you're not even making money off of it, getting it repaired. But we do, I want to remind you, we do need this to close out the old landfill, to move the dirt, and it's gonna be used over the next year to do that.
You feel the current sales with it too, don't you? Y'all cover dirt with it?
Yes. They use it's used to fill erosion, and it helps pack roads since it's so heavy. We use it everywhere.
How long's it been down?
It's fixing to be about 3 weeks now.
I make a motion, we approve the repair of the transmission on the 615 Caterpillar.
Second.
Motion's been made by Eric, seconded by Michael. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. We skipped number 5. We brought to my attention, introduction of new city employees. Mitch, what new employees do you have?
We have 2 new employees. Justin Valderas is our new Director of Economic Development, Business Recruitment, and he started today. Glad to have him on board. Can you say anything?
Oh yeah, just a real pleasure to, come to the city of Littlefield, and excited to join the team, and look forward to all the opportunities in the future, and working with every single one of y'all in this room. Very excited.
Good to have you, Justin.
Thank you.
And then with the court, we have the new court clerk, Erica Martinez.
Hello.
Hi, Erica.
Again, nice to meet y'all. I know some people, I'm not from here, I'm actually from Sudan, but I'm eager to work and know each of y'all, and of course, Judge Perkins. So, thank y'all.
Great to have you.
Erica's got some experience. She worked for an Amarillo, worked there. So we're excited to have the experience.
Thank you.
She's a new
Any others?
My dispatcher's not here yet.
Do what?
My dispatcher isn't here yet.
Okay. But you do have new dispatcher.
Yes, sir, and tomorrow I'll have an officer picking up his uniforms to start on the 3rd, and he will be living in Littlefield.
Great. Is that it? Lance, no new guys? Very good. Welcome to Littlefield, and we're excited to have each of you. Next, we'll consider and approve an ordinance replacing Article 13.03 of the City of Littlefield Code of Ordinances, providing for regulations regarding the collection of solid waste, providing for the continuation of prior ordinance for pending proceedings, and providing for a penalty of up to $2,000 according to Section 1.01.009 for the violation thereof, and providing an effective date. Mitch?
Well, this is, I think, a good stab at trying to address an issue that we've got. I know that's one of the things I noticed right when I went to work here is our alleys just look bad. I mean, we're just covered with material, and it seems like no matter how many people we throw at that, there's just something that's really hard to stay up with. And so I've been to different conferences on this, believe it or not, with bulk waste and how to handle it. I went to a few there in Lubbock and went through our general plan for trying to kind of handle this problem. And every city's got a similar situation, but I went through our general plan of trying to get on top of this, and everybody there thought it was a good idea to try to handle this. Kind of similar to what we did in a town that I worked in earlier. The big thing here would be to, instead of bulk material being placed in the alley, we would require citizens to place it in the front, by the front curb, and call us and let us know if they have material out there to pick up. Also, along with that, we'd require people to let us know of, what kind of reason why they can't take this material to the collection station or why they can't put it in the dumpster. There's gonna be some citizens that don't have a pickup, and they've got a mattress they need to get rid of. In those cases, they would call and we would have them fill out a hardship sheet or something like that. And anyway, this ordinance is an attempt to try to handle that problem we have in the alleys. It's better than it used to be, I feel like. I mean, there was times when it looked like you could cave in on both sides and you could get trapped in the alley. But we have some people that just abuse the service, and you know, the keeper of the dumpster is always the person that gets the short end of the stick, because you can't mow, you can't, I mean, as soon as your grass gets up 3 inches tall, your neighbors are piling it full of brush and stuff. So we've gotten people kind of a little bit away from piling it by the dumpsters, and that's kind of helped. At one time, there was conflicting rules that the city had where it tried to entice people to put things by the dumpster, but we've kind of changed that way of thinking, where people are maybe putting it behind their houses a little more. The dumpster, whoever has the dumpster behind their house is just really a disadvantage, and this would solve that problem. Right now, it's not against the law to pile a bunch of material, you know, by the dumpster or by your neighbor's property. So this would make it illegal to put material in the alley. And if we catch somebody doing it, if we could figure out where it came from, we could at least have a way to enforce that. And the difficult part of this, there's no completely foolproof way of setting up a program, because there are people that will dump a couch or something, and there's really no way of knowing where that couch came from. Now, the trees, you generally tell, where they came from, because you can see whose trees were trimmed. But I think this is a way that maybe we can kind of get ahead of this problem and make our town look better, kind of requiring people to step up and have a little more pride in how they handle their rubbish. And I think also putting this out toward the curb would maybe push a little bit of sense of urgency to get it picked up, because nobody likes to have trash sitting out front of their house. Plus, it might tend to push people toward hauling it off themselves instead of putting it out in the front yard. And we could do some things to maybe even extend the time for the Citizens Collection Station, if that's helpful. Right now, we don't have very many people that are using it. Maybe 2 or 3 Saturday will come out. But anyway, this is not something that needs emergency action on right now or anything like that. I just wanted to throw this out there to you to get the discussion going, so y'all can give me a direction on how to address this problem.
Well, there's not gonna be a cost for the curb pickup, but it would be by hardship only. Correct?
Right, and then need to call us when they have material. Now, there's no system that you can come up with. We're not gonna have to pick up some material that people they're gonna dump. You're just gonna have that problem, and we'll have to pick it up all around town. But at least this will give us some teeth if we caught somebody, dumping in the alley.
How often have you caught people dumping in the alley before today?
Huh?
How often have you caught people dumping illegal in the alley? Because
It's not illegal.
If you dump at somebody else's property, though, that something shouldn't be left there, that's illegal.
Right now, it's not illegal.
Or batteries?
Alley.
Batteries.
We don't get that many batteries that are out in the alley, but.
Sir, I've written a littering ticket before.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But currently, the rules actually allow you to put things in the alley, and this would be outlawing that.
Then, may I ask, why the city enforce people to pick up things by their dumpster here recently, if it wasn't illegal to leave it there. I've had a couple of constituents tell me that they were basically forced to take the stuff to the landfill because it was beside their dumpster.
Since I've been here, we haven't written any citations for dumping in the alley. And
No letters have been written to any homeowners?
not that I know of. I mean, you can't give somebody notice of violation if there's no violation.
Part of it was that the old ordinance allowed, they had to be not to exceed 4 inches in length, they had to be bundled, they can't exceed 50 pounds. So it was real minute boundaries of what was allowed by the dumpster. And so if they had a bunch of trash, I guess it could have
Well,
created an
in that case, we would have billed them for more material.
Well, the interesting thing about that is you don't know who's actually putting that stuff beside their dumpster.
That is
If
so
the dumpster's
true.
in the alley by their house, they're the one that gets the penalty for it. It may not be their stuff. And that's what they came up in these situations. They were penalized for stuff that was not theirs.
Well, I'd like to know who that was. I'd like to find out, if that, when that happened, because if we wrote a notice of violation when there's no violation, I think we were way out of line for doing that. But, right now, there's not a law against putting any amount of rubbish in the alley. It only says that if we have to do a larger than normal pickup, then we can charge them, a fee for picking up more.
I drove up and down the alleys of the community in different districts, District 1, 2, 3, and 4, and noticed there's about 75% of the alleys have at least one dumpster with debris of some sort beside it, whether it be limbs, just trash, furniture, mattresses. It is a problem right now, and this ordinance changing it is not gonna fix that unless somebody takes control of the situation and cleans it up. Are we gonna have a plan of action to go ahead and clean up the alleys rather than forcing our citizens who happen to have a dumpster in their alley to do that work for us?
I don't think we'll ever get away from having to clean up some material in the alley. I think that's just gonna happen. But, what I would like for people to do, and I think it is happening some, if something fits in the dumpster, put it in the dumpster instead of put it by the dumpster. I see people put small things by the dumpster when they could just go ahead and put it in the dumpster.
My opinion, I think we need to use more information out there before we even consider doing this curb deal. I think we need to pound the Lamb County Litter News with information of what can go in the dumpster and what can't go in the dumpster and stuff like that. And really push on getting it out there for the public before we even consider. If our alleys look the way they look now, just imagine what our front yard is gonna look like.
Well, my question.
That doesn't benefit us.
Yeah.
That'd be my question. How long would it take for the city, if I called in and said I got some stuff in my front yard, how long would it take to get that removed?
Well,
I mean, there's a lot of.
the only thing I could go by is, in Vernon, we had that requirement that you put it in the front yard and nothing stayed over a day.
And that's fine, but sometimes,
And it's 12,000 population.
yeah, well, and
So you
sometimes.
did weekend pickup?
Hmm?
You did weekend pickup?
No, it was a certain day you could put it out there. It was on
But
Wednesday
in
or
Littlefield,
something. And then you
people are
picked
not
it
gonna
up.
be putting it out there on a certain day. You're cleaning up your yard and go, oh, I can't put it out there that day. What am I gonna do with it? Leave it in a pile in my yard? They don't want it in there. They want it out of their yard. That's why it's put in the alley now.
The goal of this was to start trying to get people away from putting stuff in the alley and using the convenience station, knowing that you were still going to have to clean alleys up for a period of time until they get clean.
Yeah.
Maybe a year or 2 years. 3 years, I mean, you're trying to get people away from dumping by the dumpsters.
Yeah, and that's,
Not saying, starting today, we're gonna quit picking up trash in the alley by the dumpster. It's just, from this point forward, please don't put any more trash in the alleys.
Mayor, can I make a statement? Sure. I bought 3 lots over here. Just so happen I have 3 dumpsters on 3 lots. Because the lots east of me have carports, the one west of me doesn't. There have been empty dumpsters, and I've talked to Mitch about it. There's been empty dumpsters and people bring stuff and dump it on the ground. They don't, and it's back to Michael's point, education of the people. They don't know.
They don't know to put that in the dumpster?
No.
They don't know about the
You
convenience
read the letter or the paper from the city. It talks about bulk. It doesn't say how much is bulk. Any people have, when I moved here, they said, oh, any tree limbs put on the side of the dumpster. If it'll fit in that dumpster, put it in the dumpster. But it's people are not educated to what can go in that dumpster.
Yeah, and that's my personal opinion, guys. I think we need to put it out there a little bit more. We need to pound it in the media as far
Can y'all
as.
just send it in the letter with a water bill?
You can do that also.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Those
and
those
put
people
it-
who use the dumpster is gonna get a water bill.
Yeah, put it in the paper, you know, once, twice a month. It's not gonna hurt till.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we also, like you said, with the education, with the convenience center, we need to
Yeah.
do more about getting people to know that that's there, it's open, it's available.
Yeah.
And maybe even possibly, right now, what's ours, 10 to 2 on Saturdays, right? So, I mean, I don't know if I could put a couple of days extra on that, like maybe Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, you know, because there may be some people that, you know, working or something, they can't get out there or whatever, but I mean, I know it's gonna be a challenge there, but
You know-
again, the education part of it's gonna be.
yeah, this is not something that, we need to make any quick moves on. I mean, I have this out here for you guys to chew on and
Well, if we're talking about
discuss and figure out what we
compliance,
need
and we're
to
talking
do.
about getting people to comply, then I would believe that putting it in the alley would be the best, behind their property, not in the front yard. That's the worst idea ever, because West Texas wind blows, whatever you put out there, it's gonna blow to your neighbor's yard if they don't pick it up the next day, or across the street. So why don't we just have it where we put it in the alley behind their property, and then that truck goes down that alley anyway, they can pick it up, and if there's somebody else put something beside a dumpster for some reason, go ahead and pick it up too, why not? You know, what a great classic idea there.
And once again, put it in the property, not by the dumpster. Leave it in your backyard or leave it.
Yeah, and they can call about it, if it is one of these, you said a hardship, and I agree with that too, I've used the convenience station myself, you know, it's great, I mean, to be able to do that instead of having to drive out to the landfill, fantastic, love it.
Well, that's not a bad idea, actually, instead of having it, you know, you could set up the ordinance where you require people, if they put it in the alley, they put it behind their own property.
Right, exactly.
And then not put it in the front.
Right. And then that would mean that they would, that truck would go back behind there and pick it up from their property.
So, if I'm hearing y'all right, next meeting, I should maybe come up with a
How are they gonna
ordinance
know if it's
that
trash or not?
says that if you. put
There's some
material
yards
in
that
the
you
alley-
don't know that it's true.
Well,
People have storage behind their fence.
Well, I could prepare next month an ordinance that says, if you have a hardship and you can't place this material in the dumpster, then you are required to put it behind your own property and not behind your.
and call,
Yeah.
if they don't have any way to get it to the convenience station or the landfill, that's the only option.
That's not a bad thing, I think we could probably work that out.
Because our
It would be
streets are-
definitely easier to do.
But I think if you let people know, not just one time, let's run a couple of ads in the paper, that we got a convenience station and.
Post on Facebook.
Yeah. You know, and with all these properties that we're seizing and selling, there's a lot of.
Well, I think if we can, I think the ordinance prohibiting somebody from putting it behind their neighbor's property is an enforcement, good enforcement thing, we can do it. Now, there's gonna be some that you're just never gonna determine where the couch came from.
But Mr. Warren's right, we as,
We can work it out.
we as a city need to go in there and clean it up, and then you say, okay, this is what.
So what we'll do is we'll do more advertising and possibly look at some different hours for the, collection station that it's gonna require may have to do which is not just a modification of the TCQ, but, and then an ordinance prohibiting somebody from putting material behind their neighbor's property.
Well, our goal during the work week is if they're gonna haul trash, to take it to the landfill that's open. And then Saturday is for the guy that works during the week that can't get it.
So is there any way for the city of Littlefield to do a spot check of the entire community? I know the trash truck goes down each alley. Is there any way to have some sort of flag right now, hey, this one needs to be picked up, hey, this one needs to be picked up? Is there any way to mark those and say, all right, we need to go back and take care of these? Because I drove around and I saw stuff everywhere. I know it's just being ignored now, but is there any way to take some action on that?
To be honest with you, when we got the rear loader, the plan was, we run that truck and start on one end of the city, and by the end of the month, he should be back where he started. And I think we've gotten away from that, from going to different alleys, picking up different stuff. We need to have a schedule and say, from this day of the month to this day of the month, we're gonna do the whole city. And it can be done, because it's been done before. We need to have a
Do
schedule.
we have enough manpower for that right now?
Yeah.
That's one of the issues that I know has been hurting us. We've had a lot of
Well,
issues.
one of the things that's helped us is Lance being over Public Works and sanitation. That way he can borrow from one and catch the other ones, or whether, like it's parks, right now, they're husting on parks. trying to
And
save
you
it up.
got,
So,
I mean, I don't know, have we bought that little skidder? Yeah.
that'll help.
Okay, that would help a lot to pick up and,
Yeah.
but what you need to do is start on one end and just basically go after it.
Yeah.
Once you get it caught up, it's not gonna take that long. And then you can pass this ordinance, well, you can pass the ordinance and put it in your backyard, but.
I think the ordinance would help, because if, that would keep people from dumping it behind their neighbor's property.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest rub that we get is keeper of the dumpster. Because they get the short end of the stick, they can't mow, can't, you know.
It's a mess.
Okay, good direction, I understand.
All right, so no action on this one, is that the plan?
This time, we will execute an interlocal agreement with South Plains Association of Governments to provide administration services for the Texas Department of Agriculture Fast Fund Grant.
Just some paperwork, Justin might be able to tell us more than anybody else, and I think this, you know, one of his last projects that was fast.
What is the fast funding we do?
This fast is, Montrose deal, but I think they're going for a emergency response.
We're applying for a grant through the FAST Fund, which is Fire Ambulance and Service Fund, for a new first responder. The one we're looking at replacing is a 2005 unit that is just about used up. It's first person to the vehicle that our chief of police is driving. It is pretty well used up. But anyway, we're going through SPAG. Justin was helping with that until we hired him away, and so he's passed it on to Frank Wynn Samples, and we're working with her right now.
Thank you for looking for grant opportunities for that. Can you get a motion to approve this interlocal agreement?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Kenny. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll adopt Signatory resolution authorizing the list of positions to sign documentation pertaining to the FAST Fund grant. Get a motion to approve that resolution.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion's been made by Kenny, seconded by Buddy. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Next, we will pass the citizen participation plan for the Texas Department of Agriculture's FAST Fund grant. Just more grant requirements. Can we get a motion to approve those?
I make a motion to approve and pass the citizen participation plan.
Second.
Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Kenny. Is there any further discussion? None, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Next, we will consider and approve expenditures for the ramp routine airport maintenance program. Mitch?
Mayor, this is, I've discussed this some, the routine airport maintenance program exists there to help airports to do some minor things. In the past, we've paid for half the cost of the game fence and some other things. The TAPIs, the pilot activated approach lights that indicate whether you're too high or too low coming in. They're used by the aerial applicators and by jet service, and planes, all use that. But we're going through those bulbs just so fast. It's a month, and we have to replace all 12 bulbs. And so we can put on a radio-activated system where each pilot coming in can click the radio a certain number of times, and the happy lights will come on. Hopefully that will extend the life of those bulbs. So I've got that down there, an estimate from BC Company to put that system on. Also, I want to add 2 gate openers, one to open the second half of that front gate, and another gate opener on the east side of the airport, and that's $8,375. And then I want to get a year's worth of bulbs for the PAPI system at $3,744. And TxDOT would pay 50% of it, so our cost would be $11,096 for our matching 50% for that ramp grant.
When was that PAPI system put in?
When
was the PAPI system put in?
It was put in
Last year.
a little bit less than a year ago.
I guess they didn't use LEDs.
No.
What's it cost to put that in?
To switch over to an LED system would cost $46,000. And I understand that TxDOT would be a real hard problem to deal with on it.
Because we just put it in.
Yeah, and just put in the other one.
It was so much more expensive when we put it in, wasn't it, the system?
Well, I would have never thought that the PAPI system would, just regular bulbs would go out in a month.
Were they
Who'd have thought?
being burned 24 hours a day, weren't they, or?
Yeah, they're a 24-hour system. So the radio control deal would really cut down the time that'd be burning. Of course, there is a problem of going on and off, does kind of hurt the life a little bit, but before we start spending that kind of money, putting the LED system in, I think we ought to at least try this radio-activated PAPI thing to see if it's going to work.
Who you need there?
That's the list, I'll leave the store unlocked for you if you need it.
Thanks,
So, the annual cost is $37.44, I guess, for those bulbs. How do you know when a bulb goes out? Are you alerted by any?
Yeah, Tom calls me and lets me know the packages are out.
Oh, it's-
Matter of fact, I got a call just while ago, the packages are out. And I just put bulbs in,
And there's how many bulbs for, I mean,
it's 12.
12 of them?
Yeah. Yeah, $26 each.
Do they use them during the day, or is it needed for during the day, or just at night use
The
them?
daytime, yeah, they use them during the daytime. They're, and it's real, the technology's really simple. It has a one color light here, one color light here, one color light here, and if you're too high, you can see one color, and if you can low, you see another color combination. But they're very useful. That was one of the things that everybody really wanted when we did the airport.
Radio control will hopefully extend that quite a bit too.
I think that's something we ought to try here instead of putting a bunch of money in there, because I know TxDOT will not help us after they put the other system in.
And there's not an LED conversion that you can do with a bulb?
That's the estimate I got.
Well, no, I mean, like the bulbs they have now, I don't know what kind of bulbs they're for. There's no retrofitted bulb or anything that'll work?
I've asked them that, and they said you'd have to change the whole.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, other airports or whatever that may have this type of system that we have with the same type of bulb, are they experiencing the same problem with the bulb light?
I guess, I haven't really talked to very many other airports. We kind of go off what the engineers have told us, but I can definitely check into
I was
that.
just curious if it was a design problem, if there's something maybe with ours that might be causing, you know, voltage regulation problem.
In my wildest imagination, I would not have thought that those bulbs would only last 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
Full steady on all the time, yeah.
1,000 hours a month. Anyway, we learn.
Are they a high voltage, what do they do, what do they run on?
Well, I think they're like I want to say they're kind of I forget what you call this, halogen, I think that's what it is. But it's an expensive bulb, and, I mean, they're only that big, but they go out like goldfish.
Like a headlight in a vehicle then?
Well,
Are they similar with that?
yeah, I called the manufacturer, I said, "Man, these things," I said, "Isn't there some kind of warranty or something?" They said, "Nobody warranties bulbs for airports." Yes. Okay.
So what's backup plan? You put these handheld, radio controllers in there, and then you go to, you're coming in, it's night, and you go to activate it, and the bulb is burned out.
Well, it's not something, this is a nice safety feature, but it's not something you have to land.
Okay.
It's just, it's something that is a good, I don't know, I guess it's kind of a, security thing, you know you're going right when you see the
So
lights.
they're not dependent on it.
But, no, they're not gonna.
It is important.
Now, when you're
to
landing,
larger aircraft.
when you're in a jet, you're basically landing on a postage stamp there. So
Right.
they're not very nice to have. But with the aerial applicators, most time they're in the daytime. It's usually clear weather, so they like them too. But
I'm just saying,
they're
just
not.
in some
as
particular instance, if, going with, and they do have a problem with the light not coming on, or maybe, just, burnt.
Not the end of the world if it doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Not to be replaced.
not a have-to thing.
Okay.
How many planes are equipped with this technology that comes to our airport every month?
The technology to use the PAPIs, right now, you don't have to have any, the lights burn all the time. But any radio,
But how many
It's-
aircrafts come to our airport every month that has this technology?
Well,
the airplane doesn't have to have any technology.
Okay.
The
The
light
light
is
will be
strictly.
triggered.
Yeah, I'm like, when they put it in, I thought, now, how's all this gonna work? but it's super simple. It's just just 3 bulbs. And the thing about the radio control is any radio, and all airplanes have radios, so they click the deal like 5 or 6 times and it comes on. It's a standard thing, they all kind of know, and it'll be on our website stuff, the airport keeps it up.
Okay, I got another question. We've been spending so much money on other things, and we don't have any money in the budget. We have money in the budget for this too? We could be spending money on everything. Because we have to, well, we have to come up with some. We have to come up with some money on this one.
When is the funding for this match? Is it this fiscal year? Or?
Yeah, you can apply for it all during the year, but you need to use it by the end of the fiscal year. I mean, by the end of the calendar year. The ramp is good through December.
So your idea is to apply if we get awarded, then by that time we'll be in the next budget cycle?
No, we'll be awarded if we apply, and I could do them now. I could postpone until the end of the budget year, but,
That is an
I
option.
don't know that there would be a big problem there of waiting till then. But I could apply and we could put it in next year's budget.
Or you have the money available to, Andrew, is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, I need a number of amount, on how much it'd be, but.
11,000.
11,000.
Yeah, it probably could swing that. I mean, the airport funds are gonna be in the negative pretty heavy. But, I mean, we could swing a budget amendment on it, probably.
If I want to apply for this, there is an option of postponing the expenditure until next budget year. We do it this year or not do it.
But he said he could apply for it and implement it for next budget.
I think with what I read, you have to have the money available at that time.
When you apply.
When you get awarded the money, you have to have the match immediately.
We do have the match.
Yeah, and the way this works is you pay for it all and then they reimburse you half of it, the way it works.
And these are allowable charges, I'm assuming. I don't want to.
Yeah, I'll check.
Absolutely, okay.
Let's see.
All right.
Well, I make a motion, we approve the expenditure for the ramp program.
Is there a second? I second that. Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Eric, that we approve the expenditures for the ramp program grant. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye. Got 2 ayes for nays.
3 ayes, 4 and 2 opposed.
Yes, sir.
Please put the names down on that minutes, please.
Yes, sir.
Dan and Buddy against. The motion carried. Next, we'll consider and approve or deny change order request by Garland PBS Roofing. Mitch.
I talked to Slater about this, and he recommended that we put it on the agenda to officially approve or deny it. We had a repair done on a roof out at the commitment center, and they billed us for about, I think about 80% or so of the cost. And then they sent this change order request for 3 days that they were waived off of the project. And I hadn't heard anything about this, and I sent them an email back, said, send me some kind of documentation, something in a contract or wherever that says that we need to pay you for days that you couldn't work. And to top it all off, the city didn't turn them away. It was WellPath, one of their guys that worked in the front of the office told them, they didn't have anybody to supervise the day, so they couldn't work on the roof. So anyway, this thing all the way is silly to me, and I don't think we ought to pay this change order.
Did Wellpath in fact turn them away? Did you everybody figure that out?
Never got a good answer from them. I figured probably this boy, they told them that they didn't pay the supervisor, and they just walked out. I don't doubt that, but, I mean, somewhere along the line, you had to talk to the owner, and at least, maybe after the first time, I mean, there's nothing, this is completely ridiculous. So I don't think we ought to.
So I noticed the bill's April 12th. When did you try to get confirmation from Garland? What day did you send that email?
Oh, we've been back and forth probably 5 or 6 times on.
So you've been back and forth with them, and they still have not given you any proof?
Right,
That actually happened?
exactly, yeah. And I said, I'm taking this to the council, it's your last chance to give us some kind of proof that we owe this. So they haven't been, anything, except this bill here. So, yeah.
To be honest with you, we weren't the ones that sent them away.
I know, the owner didn't send them away, so, and now, I might have understood if they had, after the first time they were sent away, they called me and said, hey, we got sent off the job, you know, what's the deal? But there was no calls, there was no indication.
Did you know they
nothing.
were working on site at the time? You had doing repair? Did you know
I
during this
didn't
whole
know which days
project?
they were working or anything.
So you didn't know they were there? They never notified you that they were actually out on site doing any kind of repairs at all?
Mm-mm.
You knew when they started.
Yeah.
Okay, you knew when they started?
But the days they worked, I mean, let's, you know, let's be honest about it, they were not very good at working consistently, they just kind of showed up. I mean, it was 6 months before they got started. I mean, we had issues with them ever getting started on it, but it doesn't leave. So, I mean, I'm not very proud of that, but. And then we do still owe them,
Yeah.
we still owe them a retainer of about 7,000, but, I mean, that was part of the deal, but I don't think this change order is in line. I just-
Well,
To me,
legally,
there's nothing.
legally, do we have anything binding us to pay this?
No, I mean, I think if they had showed us some proof, I mean, I think you're well within your right to say, show us why
Mhm.
we need to approve this change order.
Well, and usually a contractor is between the owner and the, you know, contract is between the owner and the contractor. For a third party to come up and say, no, you can't work. I mean, to me, that's, you'd have had to have a third party signing on to the contract too. So, to me, it's completely ridiculous.
So we deny this if they want to press the issue.
They would, yeah, I mean, they would have to press it, you know.
And at that point, we turn back to Wellpath and say, if you turn it away.
Yeah, if anybody else, it'd be well back.
Make a motion, we deny this change order.
I'll say.
Motion's been made by Eric, seconded by Ben, that we deny the change order request by Garland. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next, we'll consider and approve a quick claim to abandon Cheshire Avenue pursuant to ordinance 390824-6.
Back in '89, there was a Cheshire Avenue over in the Cheshire subdivision, and the city approved abandoning that right of way, and for Robert Hodge, and Robert is selling the property now, and so as it was going through the title work, the abstract said they could not get title insurance on this. The way it was written, of the last paragraph in the ordinance says some mumbo jumbo about eminent domain and such, and it, to me, looks more like a boilerplate that cities would put on something. But the title company took issue with it, so I was contacted by a row abstract, and just, you know, in the spirit of doing what we say we do, I think we ought to go ahead and approve a quick claim on that Cheshire.
Did you get a copy of that quick claim? I didn't see it in there.
No, it wasn't, we didn't have it yet, I've got it here, it's just real basic. quick claims and look at it, standard form.
I mean, Really, the ordinance back in 1989 did exactly that, but what this town company says they need a quick claim, so we'll give them a quick claim. I mean, the city abandoned its interest in that alley, nearly 20 years ago, so.
Doesn't change anything about anything we have, it just satisfies the title company
Yeah.
for
It's
something we've already done.
Even that warranty is saying, sure, if you think we own something, we're giving it to you. You know, we're not warranting that we even own anything.
We get any further discussion on that, we get a motion to approve that quick claim deed?
I make a motion, we approve the abandoned Chester Avenue pursuant to ordinance 89-0824-6.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
A second.
Motion's been made by Michael, seconded by Kenny, that we approve the quick claim deed to abandon Cheshire Avenue pursuant to the old ordinance. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. That is it, we are adjourned, thank you.